At 5 a.m. on September 6, 2025, 10 Ukrainian drones were 57 seconds away from hitting Europe's biggest nuclear power plant. This was a site so critical, so utterly taboo, that the Russian defenders had let their guards slip, convinced nobody would ever have the nerve to try. They were on the verge of a devastating wake-up call. This wasn't some barrage of cruise missiles. It was a flock of KHS-7 drones, each tipping the scales at a mere 1.5 pounds and priced at a ridiculously cheap $400. From the lead drone's onboard camera, the goal was already locked in sight: the ZNPP's training and simulation facility. A tiny icon on the controller's display pulsed with exacting accuracy. Distance to the active reactor core, 984 feet. Let's make this absolutely plain. Ukraine had no intention of sparking a meltdown. This approach was far more cunning. They were zeroing in on the plant's nerve center, the $50 million simulation hub where Russian technicians trained to avoid another Chernobyl disaster. Taking it out would severely hamper Russia's capacity to manage their key strategic stronghold. It was a gamble with sky-high stakes and massive payoffs. If you were calling the shots as mission commander, would you greenlight this objective or deem it too perilous? 9 miles off, inside a hidden bunker close to Orikhiv, a Ukrainian operator steers the drone group using an old laptop. His transmission, a 5.8 gigahertz frequency hopping signal, acts like a phantom in the system, shifting 1,000 times per second to dodge Russia's electronic defenses. On his tactical display, the ZNPP stands as an unbreachable stronghold. A huge red zone from the Krasukha 4 system covers 186 miles in every direction around him. The S-400's Tombstone radar is constantly scanning the heavens. In theory, this site is invincible. This 3-month campaign of calculated aggression, orchestrated by the 47th Drone Brigade, didn't start in the air, but down in the shadowy waters of the Dnipro River. The goal was to crack one straightforward, yet lethal challenge. How do you slip 10 small drones beyond a billion-dollar bastion? The solution? Skip flying above the barrier, go submerged below it. The mission kicked off at 4:30 a.m., hidden by dense morning mist. The Maritza AUV detached quietly from a nondescript fishing vessel and dove out of sight under the waves. Over the following 30 minutes, it lurked like an alligator in a dark, silted waterway at night, utterly undetectable. At 4:55 a.m., the noisy phase of the operation ignited. 2 adapted Neptune missiles thundered to launch near Zaporizhzhia. Their aim wasn't the facility itself, but a nearby BM-30 Submerged rocket artillery unit. To an ordinary person, it's merely a large vehicle packed with missiles. To these drones, however, it's a massive scattergun capable of saturating the sky with fragments, ripping apart the whole formation. Thus, prior to the primary assault, Ukraine eliminated that threat entirely. As Russian troops on the ground rushed to understand their missing launcher, the operation's next phase played out in the Russian-held town of Enerhodar. A 5-person Ukrainian Special Forces unit, shadow operatives embedded with the foe for weeks, sprang into action. Their task was neutralizing the basic yet potent anti-drone mesh encircling the site. With a portable jammer, they carved out a quiet, narrow opening. They acted as the subtle intruders in a cutting-edge vault robbery. Just then, the operation's centerpiece arrived. At 5 a.m., the Maritza AUV emerged soundlessly amid a surveyed cluster of rushes only 3.1 miles from the target. A sealed compartment popped open with a soft hiss, launching 10 KL-7 drones, each fitted with a 3.3-pound shaped charge payload, skyward. 8 dove straight to 130 feet, blending into the terrain noise below. Yet 2 others, fitted with fake explosives, reversed course entirely. They ascended to 500 feet, turning themselves into glaring aerial bait. It's a textbook fighter's ruse. Distract with the feint so the powerhouse cross stays hidden. The ambush was primed. The perimeter's first line is the S-400 Triumph, a $200 million powerhouse able to monitor 300 threats. Its controller, spotting 2 dots on his console, executed flawlessly. But here's its hidden flaw. It was built for downing heavy bombers. Tasking it against a 1.5-pound drone is like swinging a mallet at a nut. It's mismatched overkill. The subsequent defense layer relies on sheer electronic might, the Krasukha 4. This mobile truck-based unit saturates 186 miles across all directions with disruptive interference. Yet the KHS-7 drones counter with a frequency-hopping transmission that switches 1,000 times each second. Next come the aerial watchers, Orlan 10 recon drones patrolling without cease. Their thermal imaging excels at detecting tanks, but at 4:30 a.m., they caught only chilly river flow, entirely overlooking the Maritza's stealthy underwater transit. At 5:01, While the S-400 controller tracks the pair of bait drones, the true secret behind the assault's success pulses within the 7 surviving strikers. At the core of the KHS-7 sits a compact NVIDIA Jetson Nano AI processor, something straight out of a student robotics club. It delivers 2 vital edges. For starters, it executes the frequency hopping routine. As the Krasukha 4 drowns the zone in a colossal barrage of jamming static, the Jetson Nano directs the drone's receiver to leap to fresh frequencies 1,000 times per second. Secondly, it enables visual guidance. The Krasukha has blacked out all global positioning system entirely, but the drone shrugs it off. Its onboard camera relentlessly matches the ground features to an onboard satellite image in its limited storage. It's ignoring satellite pings. It's scanning the landmarks it sees for itself. You can scramble a broadcast, but the terrain stays unjammable. This intellect fits into a chassis optimized for sleek performance. The structure uses ultralight carbon fiber build, keeping the drone's base weight sans warhead at barely over 1.5 pounds. That spares the advanced lithium polymer power cell from hauling excess bulk. Instead, it's focused on fueling the AI module and boosting flight distance. That's why the Maritza AUV could release them from 3 miles distant, a span these bespoke mini-drones handle with ease. And physics lands the ultimate embarrassing twist on the S-400. The drone's diminutive frame and carbon fiber shell yield a radar signature tinier than a bird's. The S-400 software filters out minor avian blips, or else it'd waste pricey interceptors on bird swarms non-stop. The KHS-7 sneaks right into that blind spot. They engineered a beast for big game predators, oblivious to the serpents slithering inside. At 5:02 S-400 tech, Sergei performs his duty. 2 multi-million-dollar projectiles blast from launchers, howling after the decoy pair. To the Ukrainian handler in Orikhiv, it's a win. But this is where things nearly derailed. The Krasukha's ferocity starts glitching the decoy's video streams, making them stutter and warp. The Russians don't depend on a single tool either. A high-flying Orlan 10 verifies the sightings via its lens. The S-400 crew gets instructions to drop their scan elevation toward the exact height, concealing the true assault group. On the controller's monitor back in Orikhiv, this marks the instant his pulse surges. The S-400's scanning beam, like a virtual reaper, starts edging perilously near his concealed flock. Yet this is when the 5-member Shadow Squad in Enerhodar unleashes their trump card. At 5:02:40, with Russian interceptors bearing down, one operative activates a switch on an unassuming black device. It's a localized counter-electronic warfare tool. Rather than outright jamming the Krasukha's output, it echoes and garbles it, generating a compact zone of total signal chaos. It's akin to attempting a focused discussion beside someone yelling random gibberish in response. You simply abandon it. The Russian sensor tech, eyes glued to the decoys, now operates partially sightless. Moments afterward, his projectiles strike home. The pair of bait drones erupt into nothing. Over the Russian comms channel, it's hailed as a triumph. 2 targets neutralized. Sergei logs that he's burned millions to erase 2 $800 fakes, clueless that the 7 true killers have bypassed the front gate and are closing on the executive suite. At 5:03, the surviving 7 KHS-7 drones pierce the innermost barrier, and Russian leader Sergei's veins run cold. He spots their trajectory weaving straight amid his guard posts and the towering outlines of the reactor domes. This goes beyond a routine raid now. It's turned into a standoff with a nuclear catastrophe as the captive. Firing protocols must avoid all critical installations, he bellows into his comms, tension cracking his tone with fresh dread. He can't unleash indiscriminate fire. Any errant projectile risks igniting a global crisis. Pantsir systems swivel in frenzy, their processors hunting for unobstructed shots. A Mi-28 Havoc helicopter gunner, palm slick with sweat, repositions his strafing path clear of the facility before unleashing. This pause, this fleeting mandatory restraint, is precisely the gap Ukraine requires. Still, the Russians are seasoned experts. One Pantsir acquires lock and unleashes, vaporizing a drone amid flying debris. The Mi-28 realigns and cannons another to bits. A follow-up Pantsir, in a measured salvo, tears apart 2 additional ones. 4 more craft eliminated in a flash. The Ukrainian pilot in Orikhiv stares aghast as his assault group gets systematically picked apart. 4, then 5, 6 signals fade to noise. The Russian countermeasures, despite limitations, prove ruthlessly efficient, but one slips by. Amid the inferno of glowing rounds and debris storms, a lone drone breaks free like an avenging phantom. Its handler, the sole survivor in the fray, has turned the pandemonium, the annihilation of allies into cover. Weaving a bold, erratic route that hugs the exact blind spots where defenders dared not fire, the pilot's perspective turns into a vertigo-inducing surge of gray concrete. His mark isn't a broad rooftop exhaust. It's a seemingly trivial air intake grill on the training center's third level, a shadowy metal panel scarcely larger than a pizza tray. This serves as the precise ingress, a pinpoint slot ensuring no unintended harm. His pulse races wildly, yet his grip remains steady as a surgeon's. This demands guiding a thread through an eye while hurtling at 80 miles per hour. Across his display, a compact symbol blinks, payload primed. A soft electronic chime resonates in his earpiece. Breaching the interior, he murmurs as the drone dives into the shadowy constricted duct. The video stream morphs into a tight, disorienting haze of steel conduits. He's penetrated. For Sergei, glued to his radar feeds, the final blip has evaporated. He exhales in relief, convinced of victory. He's unaware the lone, deadly projectile is already within the walls. For the Ukrainian controller, reality shrinks to a suffocating, rapid whirl of corrugated panels. He's guiding sight unseen, relying solely on a three-dimensional schematic etched in his mind from endless months of rehearsal. He tallies the maneuvers, left, right, followed by a brief upward ascent. His objective skips the chamber outright. It's the core electrical line and server arrays powering the $50 million reactor mock-up. At 5:03:43, a cluster of whirring gear comes into view. He executes one last micro-adjustment and thrusts the controls ahead. The FPV imagery erupts into blinding white noise. Through his headset, a conclusive crisp crack. The operator declares, tone even and expert, detonation verified. Objective offline. Outwardly, Russian sentries witness little. A faint belch of dark fumes escapes a third-floor outlet. Interior lights stutter once, twice, then extinguish for good. No colossal blaze, no thunderous blast, merely an abrupt, chilling quiet. To Sergei, it's the most horrifying hush imaginable. Now consider the science behind this flawlessly precise takedown. The 3.3-pound shaped charge operated not as an explosive, but as a superheated blade. The stream of liquefied copper, screaming past 25,000 feet per second, carved through the 10-inch reinforced barrier, shielding the servers like flimsy plaster. It then incinerated the key server banks and cut the facility's primary power backbone. The operational repercussions hit hard and fast. The $50 million training hub, unique in enemy-held zones, suffered 80% ruin. Russian official outlets stayed mum. What spin could cover this? Projections indicate 18 months and exceeding $60 million for repairs. A year-and-a-half stretch with no capacity to prepare or validate fresh crews for the 6 VVER 1,000 units. They retain physical custody, yet Ukraine has commandeered the site's long-term viability. So, here's the challenge for you. Would you have pulled the trigger on this, aware that a $400 drone was buzzing a mere 984 feet from a nuclear reactor, with an entire continent's destiny possibly hinging on your precision? Drop your verdict in the comments below. Ultimately, at the cost of a second-hand vehicle, Ukraine delivered a masterful strategic knockout. They demonstrated that today's battles don't demand a billion-dollar force to topple a giant. All it takes is a sharper strategy, some bargain bin drones, and the grit of one pilot nailing a flawless run. If you got a thrill from seeing a billion-dollar stronghold outwitted by a DIY drone, hit that like button hard. Pass this clip to folks craving insights on uneven combat, or anyone who relishes a tyrant taking a solid hit. And don't forget to subscribe and tap the bell icon to catch the next tale of a Russian commander facing utter disaster.